These are two of the most powerful tools that have helped me to be able to grow a more profitable, more fun business for both me and my clients, which I've generated $24 million for in the last few years. So if you're a high ticket coach and you want more freedom, you want more fun, and you want more profit in your business, I got you. Now, a lot of times in coaching, when coaches are just getting started, this was totally me. I was getting started in my business and I was building what I thought I would love, right? I was doing all the things. I was looking for the clients, I was building the systems and the processes and all that stuff. And as I got going in my business, one of the things I ended up finding out probably a year in, some in some aspects a little bit sooner than that, is I built something that I didn't really like. I didn't love it. I was okay doing what I was doing, but there were aspects of it that would just stress me out or burn me out or just want me to like get out of the business completely because I hated pieces of it that much. Now, definitely there were some things that I loved that I enjoyed. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it, right? All of us have a calling, and that's why we get into business in the first place, right? We have something that we want to give to the world, that we want to share, that we want to help people with. But somewhere along the way, as you're building your business, you can get lost in that. You can build something that's too complex or just doesn't flow the way that you want it to, or doesn't give you the actual results that you're looking for. Now, for me, there were a couple of different things that I had done, some different businesses that I had along the way. I've had five different businesses, I think, if I remember them all, but there were three of them that I really learned a couple key lessons from. And the first one I had was a fitness coaching or a financial coaching company. The fitness coaching company came later, but it was a financial coaching company. And one of the things that I was taught and this mindset that I had is that the more that I can offer somebody, the more products, the suite of products that I had, the more I could offer, the more value I would bring and the more opportunity I could have to make a sale. And although that was partially true, what I ended up learning is that it made my business way too complex. I had to know way too much. I couldn't really specialize in anything great. And I wasn't known for anything because I was trying to do everything, be everything for everybody. And so I realized that offering more doesn't mean that you're more valuable. What it often does is it just makes things way too complex. During that same time, I had a nutrition coaching company as well. I was part of a multi-level marketing company, and we'd help people with nutritional supplements. And one of the mindsets that I adopted, I wasn't necessarily taught it, but it was something that I adopted was that in order to be successful, you have to always be on, right? You have to respond to messages right away when they're coming through. You got to always be ready with like a sample, or you got to be ready to give your pitch at any moment because you never know who you're going to talk to. And with almost every conversation that you're having with people, you're trying to look for a way to insert your solution. And I thought that that would be something that would help me be more successful, always be ready, always be on, be going 24/7. And what I really realized is that that made me very inefficient. I wasn't great at having natural conversations with people to be able to figure out if, I could actually help them or not be going in the back of my head about like, how can I make this something where I can help them, offer them some sort of product, right? And so I ended up in this place where I was just, I was not efficient. I was try to do too many different things at once, always be going and responding to people. I wasn't getting great sleep because I was up late trying to message people and this and that, up early trying to do the same thing. I was kind of doing that burn the candle at both ends kind of thing that you get stuck in sometimes. And it led to me sacrificing just too much in my life, sacrificing time with friends because I was, multiple nights during the week going to events and stuff like that to try and grow this business, sacrificing time with my wife. I mean, I was with her a lot of the time, but we were doing business stuff. We weren't always bonding in the way that we wanted to. We missed out on some, family events and stuff like that because we're like, oh, we got this other thing that we had committed to beforehand. And it basically led to me feeling a little bit of unfulfillment too, because I was always on. I just felt like, where's the end to this? And then a few years after that, my wife and I started a fitness coaching business, which was great. I loved that. But when you're a business owner and you're starting out, you have this mentality, like there's this message that a lot of the people preach, and that it's you got to grind, right? You got to grind, you got to be on 24/7 if you want to get good results. And what ultimately ended up happening is there were a lot of things that I did that just weren't effective, right? Because I felt like I was always hustling. And that's not me. Like like deep down, I'm not somebody who's gonna go and just work, 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 right? I have other things in my life that I prioritize more than that. My faith, my family, taking care of myself. And so you're trying to grow a business and do all the things because, it's only you. And what ends up happening is you spend your time doing a lot of things that don't really move the needle. And for me, in a lot of ways, it led to me feeling burnt out. Like, is this thing ever going to grow to the level that I want it to? Now, all these businesses, the financial business, the nutrition coaching business, the fitness business, I would say they were relatively successful. I sold my financial advising practice after 4 years running it. The nutrition coaching business, we earned a leadership level. Things were picking up a little bit of momentum with that. The fitness coaching, we hit 5-figure months, and we were able to make some progress with that. And I'm not going to go into it right now, but each of those businesses had a very unique reason for me leaving or ending. And essentially, throughout that whole journey, all three of those businesses, and even some of the ones that I worked on after that, I ended up really trying to focus on how can I make this better. Along that journey, I realized that really there are three key things that you need to be able to focus on if you want to get more freedom in your business. Like the thing that you start out, the excitement that you start out your business with, you're like, this is the reason why I want to grow it. I want to help people. I want to make money and provide opportunities for my family and people around them. That freedom that you want, the freedom to choose, make choices on what you do with your time and your resources. If you want to impact that, if you want to have more fun in your business and not feel like you're always burnt out, you're always burning the candle at both ends. And if you want to have more profit, right? You want to be efficient and effective in your business, there are three things that you really need to focus your time on. And so what I ended up doing was creating an acronym for three key areas where I try and focus my attention in my day to day and when I'm doing higher level planning. And the acronym is SEE. And what it stands for is simple, efficient, and effective. Now, with that financial advising business and that suite of offer, I'm trying to offer more and value more, offer more to people to be more valuable to them and to try and grow my business that way. It made things more complex. I wasn't being simple, right? So that's one of the things I started looking for. Efficient. Well, with the nutrition coaching company, I was always on. I thought I was going 24/7, and it wasn't efficient. I was starting to get, a little bit tired of always going, always going, always going. And I was jumping from thing to thing all the time. It wasn't efficient. And that's something that I needed to improve. And then with the third business, the fitness coaching business, doing all these different things, trying to be, everything for everybody. I was just not as effective as I wanted to be. I wasn't prioritizing my time on the things that would really move the needle. And so I developed this acronym C. And as I go throughout my day, as I do my planning, as I'm attending events and stuff like that, this is the acronym I have in mind. I'm trying to think of my business. What can I make more simple? What can I make more efficient? What can I make more effective? Because if I know that if I do those three things, if I'm able to make some progress in each of those areas, I'm going to get more freedom from my business. I'm going to have more fun while I'm doing it. And I'm going to make more profit, right? The simplicity aspect ties directly in with the freedom. If your business is simple, it's not overly complex, you're able to do things in a really simple way, that's going to give you more freedom because you're going to get really good at the few things that you need to do. And you're not going to be doing a whole lot other than that, it just, you keep it simple. That gives you the energy that you want. You're not going to be wasting your energy on things that you don't need to be. Now, the efficient side of things, that ties directly in with fun, right? If you're always spending your time doing stuff that you absolutely hate doing, that takes a lot of your time, that's not moving the needle in your business, you're being inefficient, right? And that's not very fun. So that's the second one. And then effective, right? That ties directly in with profitability. If you're being effective with what you're doing and you are, um, doing the coaching with people in a way that's really working, if your business processes are set up in a way that they increase the likelihood of when somebody comes into your world, they end up wanting to work with you, you're going to make more profit. So that's how the acronym simple, efficient, and effective ties in directly with the goal of having and creating a business that provides you with more freedom, more fun, and more profit. Now, the question that you have is, how do I actually do that? Like, how do I improve things and make them more simple and efficient and effective? Well, a few years back, when I was owning my financial advising practice and running it, I was at an event, and one of the speakers taught me another acronym that has literally changed the game for me. Now, if you're a high ticket coach and you watch videos like this one right now, if you read books, if you go to events, if you do courses, if you do literally anything where you are learning how to do something, this is going to be a game changer for you as well. Now, the acronym is called ACT. ACT, and it stands for apply, change, and teach. Now, when you're learning something from a video just like this, right? If you're anything like me, I don't like to waste my time and just, listen to something and let it come one in ear, go out the other. I don't want to learn something and say, hey, that's a great idea, and then just let it flow by and never actually do anything with it. If I'm going to invest my time in something, I want it to be worthwhile. It's got to have some sort of ROI, especially if it's business related, right? Now, apply, change, and teach. The way that I use that is if I'm watching a video like this one, or I'm going through a book, listening to a podcast, or I'm at an event taking a bunch of notes. I'm always listening for new strategies, new tactics, things that I can potentially use to make my business more simple, more efficient, and more effective. And so I'm taking notes as I'm, at that event, and I come back with a whole bunch of pages. I'm going to give you an example here. So I was just doing a training with somebody. I was watching a video not that long ago, and I came back with pages and pages and pages of notes. Now, what I always do after I get done with that, like event or book, or even just a chapter of a book, watching a video, I'll always go back through all my notes. And what I do is, as I read each piece of information, if it's something that stands out to me and it's like, I think I could make this more simple, efficient, effective. I could take that and apply it to my business in some way. I'm going to put an A next to it, right? That's something that I'm not doing right now that I can start doing. That's going to help me be more simple, efficient, or effective, right? That's what the A stands for. So I'll drop a little A like right next to it. Now, as I'm going through those notes, let's say that I'm doing something one way and somebody teaches me, oh, there's a new way, right? There's a new opportunity, a new way that I can do this that's going to make my business more simple, efficient, or effective. I'm going to put a little C next to that. And then the last one, teach. Let's say that there's something that I find a lot of value from, and I want to share that with other people in my audience, and I want to teach it to them. I'll put a T next to it, and that's something that could help make my business or their business more simple, more efficient, or more effective. So I'll go through every single note that I've taken at that event or book or video or whatever I'm doing, and I'll put a C, or a T next to it if it's something that jumps out. Now, what I do after that is I go through and I prioritize all the A's, all the C's, all the T's. And if you've ever had the job of prioritizing a lot of information, I'll give you an example. So on this sheet of notes, I got my apply column, my change column, and my teach column of stuff that I wanted to use from this training. Now, what I'll do is prioritize that. But sometimes if you're at an event, it's a multi-day event, or you're, doing a really long webinar, or there's just a lot of gold in whatever it is that you're watching or reading or doing, you're going to have a bunch of stuff, a bunch of ideas, right? And this is where shiny object syndrome can really kick in, especially for me. I could be like, oh, that would be great. This would be great. Oh, I could, and you envision all these things, you get all these ideas rolling. Well, you also know that you don't want to get stuck in this trap of doing too many different things, because then all of a sudden you're not keeping things simple. You're not keeping them efficient. You're not keeping them effective. So, what I use when I'm prioritizing all of these is just a really simple process. You might have heard of it before, but it works really well for me. And it's called, um, oh, what is it called? It's called the Eisenhower something, the Eisenhower decision matrix. That's what it is. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's super, super simple, but what it does, it allows you to take all these ideas, take all these potential things that you could do, that you could apply, that you could change, that you could teach, and figure out which ones are actually worth my time, which ones are not, and which ones maybe fall in the middle. And so the way that I approach this is it's just like this. Hopefully you can read this. So you got a box with 4 squares in it. On the top, you got urgent for this column. You got not urgent for this column. And then for this row, you got important. And this row, you got not important, right? So you're going through this list of things and you're figuring out what's going to make a bit, like if it's something that's going to make a big impact on your business, um it's probably pretty urgent. Or if it's something that you need to apply right away because maybe you got an event or something, or a workshop that you're doing that's coming up, and you're like, oh man, I got to apply this right away before that thing next week, right? Then it would be urgent. If it's something like, oh, this is a really great idea, but I don't need to implement it just yet, I got some time, then it's not urgent, right? If it's something that can really move the needle for you, if it can make a big impact, then it's probably important. If it's something that doesn't make a big impact, but um, you still have it on the list, then maybe it's just not so important. So then what you do is you categorize each one of these items on your list and you put them in the box. If they're urgent and important, you put them in this box. And those are things that you do. You do it now. You do it right away. If they're urgent and they're important, chances are you're going to be the best one to be able to do it. So you're going to do it right now yourself. Now, let's say they're not urgent. You could do it later, but they're still important. There's something that you should be the one to do because you got to have the quality level, make sure it's done really, really well. Those would be things that you decide on. You decide when to put it on the schedule, right? Now, let's say that it's something that is urgent, but it's really not that important. Like, it's not something that would give a huge return on that's worth you investing your time and energy on. Well, in that case, you want to delegate it. It's urgent, but it's not important. So you delegate it and you find someone, whether that's an employee in your company, or maybe you're finding a VA or somebody else to be able to help you with it. Like, it's a low impact task, but it needs to be done right away. You find someone else to do it, you delegate it. And then lastly, if it's not urgent and it's not important, you delete it, throw it in the trash, because it's not an idea that's worth your time or worth you paying somebody else to do. It's not going to make a big impact, and it's not something that needs to be done right away. So I go through this list of all these notes after I attend that event, read that book, do that thing, get all these ideas, categorize them into apply, change, and teach, and then use that Eisenhower decision matrix to figure out which of these am I going to do? Which of these am I going to do later, and decide on a time to do them? Which of them am I going to delegate to somebody else because they're urgent but they're not important enough for me to spend my time on? And which ones are just not really worth it that I'm going to kind of throw to the side? So, with those things in mind, that's how I approach my business. I'm a coach, if you're a coach and you want to make your business more fun, if you want to have more profit in it, and you want to experience more freedom, like one of the reasons you got into business, these are some really great tools that you can use to help yourself on a day-to-day basis as you're doing your thing in your business, or you're going to places where you're learning new ways to run your business, how to do new things to help you make things more simple, more efficient, and more effective. So If you like this video, go ahead and drop me a comment. Make sure to hit subscribe. I got a lot more stuff coming just like this for you. And until next time, this is the way.